Tesla stock is up over 6% today, and we have officially swept this liquidity zone, this massive resistance that we've been watching for over the past couple of months. We've had a $400 target on Tesla set for the next 30 to 45 days. I believe the breakout is finally happening, and we're going to cover the $500 target that we set for the end of 2025, and if I think that is still on the table. Now, before we get into the breakdown and more importantly, my targets, this video is not the type of video to say I was right or told you so. I am wrong very frequently. You can see over the past 4 years, we only have a win rate of 59%, even though we've profited over $5.1 million. So just because this trade worked out this time does not mean that we are some sort of trading savant. One of the things that I think is very healthy for any trader or any investor is to understand that when things are good, you are never as good as you think you are. And when things are bad, you are never as bad as you think you are. If you are trading a system like I do, then it's simply just the system and the law of probabilities. And so while we can celebrate today and we can be happy today, at the end of the day, this is just the system. Something else that we're going to be covering in today's video is the massive unusual options calls that hit the tape today. We're going to be going over those calls. These expire 10/3. We're going to be talking about that flow and what that means. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the breakdown. Now let's start first with the technical setup. Then we will move into the options flow and we'll talk about my position specifically. When we look at this setup for Tesla, you are going to know that price action has been bullish for the past couple of months. Each and every single time that we have pulled back, I want you to understand that we have pulled back into a higher low, meaning that we never pull through and break this previous low. That's how you will normally be able to tell that these are just short-term pullbacks that are normally going to bounce and break out to the upside. This is why, even though there's been a ton of compression, a ton of backwards movement, none of this has scared us out of our trades. None of this has really worried us. Because as long as structure is still in place, which it has been, then there's nothing for us to even worry about. It can definitely be frustrating because there's so many times that we give some profits back. But at the end of the day, nothing has really been that worrisome. Now, we talked about in the last video how there are a lot of times that investors will try to time the top and then wait for price to pull back in to get back into a position before the next rally. I am not one of those people because I understand that while it's great timing the market, just being in an A+ setup like this is going to prove to be one of the best things that you can do if this massive breakout actually happens. And that if this resistance level swept, which it did, that it would happen very quickly and it wouldn't give us time for price to pull back, which is why even though we were expecting worst case one more pullback, we didn't change our position. We held on to our calls and we didn't do anything different. Now today, price is up over 6%. We have swept this liquidity zone. And if you notice on the BX trender down here at the bottom of your screen, it is green and we are showing tons and tons of buying pressure. So as price is pushing into this resistance with structure being bullish, which is what we just talked about, and buying pressure coming in on the BX trender, that is normally a clear indication that we are going to sweep, which is just a cool way to say break out or push through this resistance level. And once that happens, that's where we get this massive breakout. Now, where are we getting this target of $400 to maybe even $500 by the end of the year? Well, this is where we have to move out to the weekly time frame because the weekly time frame is a much bigger time frame. And for those of you who have not taken our free courses and understand our trading system, what we like to do is focus on these bigger time frames first, basically like a microscope. See what's happening on the weekly, what's happening on the monthly, then we zoom in on the daily to get an idea of short-term ranges. So when we zoom back out to this weekly chart, you're going to see that structure is bullish. We bounced back here in March. We have this liquidity zone here. If we look at the BX trender on the weekly chart, which is one of my favorite and strongest indicators that we use inside of our strategy, we've been building pressure for the past 42 days. So even though price has been sitting sideways, this pressure that's getting built up over the past 45 days has to release. And in most cases, it's going to release to the upside. Now we take a look at our THT volume profile, which is this indicator on the right side of your screen. This indicator shows us buying and selling over the past 150 weeks. This is a very strong indicator because where we have thick areas of volume on this volume profile, for instance, from like $355 to $300, this is going to show an accumulation or consolidation of shares. Where we have these thin areas of volume on the volume profile, such as $350 to $400, price will push through that level. We like to say like a hot knife through butter very, very quickly. It's basically like a price vacuum, which is why we've expected this breakout to happen once it confirms, which we just did, to happen very, very quickly. And so that's why I think that we're easily going to continue to move our way up at least to $400 and maybe even up to $500. The reason 400 is the first level on the table is because that's where we have this block of volume right here. This block, like we said before, that shows most of the buying pressure, these areas are going to act as potential resistances. So I think that Tesla's at least going to continue to move up to 400 in the next 30 to 40 days, maybe even $420.69 before a potential rejection. I think that what would most likely occur here is price pushes up into that level, price rejects or either compresses for a little bit, and then we get another push up into $500 by the end of the year. So I still think that there's a very good chance that the $500 target that we put on Tesla back in May is still on the table. And this is just chef's kiss and A+ setup still in play. And if price rejects and somehow this ends up turning into a loser, I want you to understand it's not the end of the world. It's only the end of the world if you're using poor position sizing, which is why I push why your position sizing and your risk management is so important. I don't want you guys to go ahead and make a ton of money on this trade if it's your entire position. If all of your money is in Tesla right now, unless you're long-term invested in the stock, then it doesn't matter if we end up making money here because ultimately you really didn't do it correctly because this could fail. And what I want you to learn to do is protect your downside more than anything. If we look at my returns and more specifically, my returns for Tesla just in the past couple of years, we're up over $1.8 million, but we only have a win rate of 62%, which means that we are losing pretty consistently. And imagine if I took all of the money that I have and I put it into a Tesla position each and every single time that I took a trade and I bought calls or I did something crazy like that. Well, then just one of the many losing trades that we've had could wipe me out entirely. And what's more important when it comes to trading and investing is being able to do this over the long term. I mean, for instance, if we even just look at the wins, 138 trades were winners, but 83 were losers. So imagine if we lived or died just by the next position. That's not what we're looking to do here. We're looking to keep our losses small, and we're looking to trade these massive breakouts. Now, before we get into flow, if you want access to any of the indicators that you see here and that we go over in our videos, they are all completely for free down in the description. Our entire 12-step trading system is free. And the reason that we do that is because I want to help traders who are starting out. And I truly believe that this system is the best trading system that anybody can learn very simply and more importantly, stick to. And it's not going to hurt me if you know my system. You'll get access to all of the indicators such as the BX trender, smart money zones, and our volume profile completely for free, as well as learn our entry and exit criteria, how to read charts, and more importantly, how to trade options responsibly. Now that we've went over our targets and we talk about our actual trading setup, let's talk about the options market because over the past couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of unusual call options hit the tape. And today was no different. If we go over to our Traders Helping Traders student portal Everyone within our private academy gets access to this portal. You are going to see in the unusual flow section the calls that hit the tape today. These contracts were for $360, expiring 10/3, so a little under about 3 to 4 weeks. At the time, the price of the stock was $358.10. So we've basically already pushed up about $10 or 3% since that flow hit. And you can see the volume at the time of this at 11:02 a.m. was about 38,000. And the open interest was about 2,800. And this flow is meeting all of our criteria. If you have not already taken the options flow course that's also free down in the description, I highly recommend it. This is going to show you how to actually interpret and read this data. But when we're looking at an unusual flow or a potential insider who knows something, there's three major things that we look at. The first is going to be size, the second is going to be time, and the third is going to be urgency. So size means, is it a lot of money? And if we look at the value here, yes, this was a lot of money, especially for the options market. We have an order for 4 million, basically 5 million, another one for 4.2, another one for 5, another one for 1 million. So we're looking at close to $20 million right here. You're going to see also that they all came in with about 20 to 30 minutes of each other. So in my opinion, this is one order just split across a couple of orders so that this whale does not get spotted, but we spotted them. The next thing that we want to see is time, which means that these options you can see expire on 10/3. This is important because it means that this person is swing trading this. They're waiting for this to play out maybe over the next week or so. And the third thing that we want to see is urgency. Does this person want to get in as soon as possible? And more important, are they willing to actually get into this and overpay? And the answer here is yes. We can tell by looking at the details at the end of this order. If it says underscore AA or underscore A, it means that this was purchased at the ask or above the ask, which means they overpaid to get into this position, which is extremely important to understand. If someone's willing to overpay with that much money, that means they want to get into this position as soon as possible because they think that Tesla's going to go up. And since they got in at $358 and it instantly went up $10, they were right to overpay short term. At the end of the day, I am very, very happy, and not just because we are making money on this position, but more so because we stuck to our plan. When I'm looking at trading and investing, I don't care about making money today or tomorrow, and I don't see a win or a loss by the money that I make or I lose. If I stick to my system, if I do what I'm supposed to do, if I use proper risk management, then that's a win, regardless of what the actual numerical return or loss is. But if I don't stick to my system, if I oversize and I don't stick to my conviction, whether I win or lose from a dollar standpoint, it's still a loss to me. And I know for a lot of people who haven't been doing this a while, that might sound crazy, but I promise you, you're never going to be able to buy and sell at the perfect time. But what you can do is stick to your system no matter what. I hope this video helped. As always, guys, thanks for all the support. Check out our free courses and you can learn our strategy down below. I'll see you all tomorrow.